The program of action outlined in the State of the Nation is essentially based on the National Development Plan as well as the ruling party's election manifesto. The President made the economy the center stage of what he addressed us on yesterday. And it is a program that is targeted at growing our economy. The most effective weapon in the campaign against low growth, against poverty, is jump-starting the economy and making sure that our economy begins to perform at a higher level. One of the key issues that we have to address is creating jobs. Creating work requires faster and a much more inclusive economy. This program of action therefore involves a range of measures to remove the constraints on growth, stimulate faster job creation, and invest in the long-term sustainable growth of our economy. What President Zuma demonstrated yesterday is that we are a nation at work. We're not sitting on our laurels or hiding our heads in the sand like an ostrich. The government of President Zuma is very much alive to the challenges that we face and is determined to work with all sectors of our economy and key role players to make sure that we address the economic challenges that we face. The President also said that we are prepared to work with the private sector. The private sector generates up to 70% of jobs in our country, and the President has committed himself and his government to work very closely with the private sector to begin to address what many people call the trust deficit. We want to address the trust deficit and work hand in glove with the private sector to ensure that we inject growth in our economy. And to this end, the President will be meeting the Presidential Working Group to engage business on a number of issues about economic growth. And one of the things he will be saying to them is that the public sector, the government, has demonstrated over and over again, has demonstrated confidence in the economy of our country, and we would like the private sector to follow suit. We would like the private sector to also invest in this economy, to get over this low level of investment that we've been going through. So it is a call that the President has made to the private sector to invest in our economy. But in doing so, at this meeting that he will hold, he will listen very carefully to what the private sector has to say, so as to understand what they articulate as constraints to economic growth, so as to hear carefully what their proposals are in terms of getting engaged more effectively to generate growth in our economy. So we look forward to this meeting that will take place shortly so that all of us can work together to begin the process of generating growth in our economy. We will also engage with various other social partners to arrive at a common approach at encouraging economic growth and stability and reducing inequality in our country. And a particular area of focus, as the President addressed us on yesterday, is going to be in the mining sector. The mining sector has been going through a lot of stress, and there are quite a number of problems apart from the strike that is ongoing, which is being addressed by the partners involved in that process. There are a number of other issues, living conditions, housing conditions, that the President addressed yesterday. And he will now be taking forward the process of the implementation of the framework agreement that was arrived at under the leadership of former Deputy President Kgalema Motlanthe. Work will also continue at interministerial level in addressing the infrastructure key challenges that we face in that regard. The President spent quite a lot of time addressing the challenge of energy. We've identified energy as a huge constraint to our economic growth, and the government has decided that it is going to take steps to address this major challenge. And the President articulated clearly what our strategy is on energy, and that we are going to embark on a sustainable energy mix that comprises coal, that comprises solar, wind, hydro, gas, and nuclear energy. It will also include focused efforts to bring the Medupi and Kusile power stations online in the shortest possible time and proceed to ensure that they come into generation sooner than we had hoped for, so that they can contribute to the grid and increase our energy power. A critical part of our efforts to grow the economy is a massive, coordinated focus investment in the economic and social infrastructure. Infrastructure is still the key area of focus for our government. We have an infrastructure backlog, and the President articulated this very clearly yesterday, and we've already made huge progress. R1 trillion has already been invested, and we're going to be investing close on to 900 billion rand going forward in the next 3 or so years. And that is a clear sign of confidence in the economy of our country. It is meant to address precisely the constraints that we have identified. The other key area is the area of skills. The skills shortage, the government has pulled out all stops to make sure that our young people get skills, they get proper skills as to be able to contribute to the growth of our economy. This government invests, as we all know, much more on a GDP contribution basis in education, and we are beginning to see that we are gaining traction. Young people are beginning to take up a number of training opportunities that are available. What we also want to see is the private sector coming to the party in as far as opening up opportunities for young people, internship opportunities, learnership opportunities, and ensuring that they also give young people opportunities to get bursaries and go and learn. Many of us who've been exposed to these young people see a lot of enthusiasm and energy amongst young people. They just simply want to learn. They want to become skilled, and what we have to do is to give them the opportunity. We have to give them the tools, we have to give them everything that we can to make sure that they get these skills as to be able to make a contribution to our country.